دوستان سلام عرض میکنم. امیدوارم روز و روزگار بر همه شما خوش باشه و خیلی ممنون که وقت گذاشتید و به برنامه امروز ما گوش خواهید کرد. امروز برنامه بسیار پربارتری داریم. امروز از جامعه یهودی، مسیحی، کاتولیک و مسلمان 3 اسکالر درجه 1 داریم که انشالله با صحبتاشون میتونیم یک برنامه آموزنده فراهم کنیم. با اجازه شما برنامه رو از این لحظه شروع میکنم. It's my great pleasure to welcome you both. We are waiting for Rabbi Beliak as usual. But anyway, salam from the Muslim Public Affairs Council, President of Muslim Public Affairs Council, and Father Alexis Smith from the Catholic Church. And we will start the questions without any further ado.
So, you're good at that, yes.
Do you want to say something?
No. I'm delighted once again to join not only yourself, but my friend and colleague, Salam here.
And Salam, do you want to say anything?
Always a pleasure to be with Father Alexi and you, Dr. Namazi Khan, ready to tackle the tough topics that you will select today.
That you will no doubt have selected.
I'm sure you always come up with something.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think that one of the questions that I have today, which these days, the word is not very easy word, and it's a lot of tension everywhere. And the majority of the tensions, close to the majority of the tension, are the religious related. Even when you talk about what's happening in this country with the white supremacists, those things, and Islamophobia, anti-Semitic, and those things are mostly religious issue. But considering that all of the religions claim that they are the religion of peace and harmony and respect for the others, what happened that right now we see violence and atrocity in all of the religion in the world, and we can see it. We don't deny it. We have it with the Buddhist people, Hindu people, Muslim people, Jewish people, and the Christian. So there is no question that the teaching of none of these religions are about the violence or anything like that. But why we are getting to that? Father Alexi,
well, thank you,
Jesus
Doctor.
came before Prophet Muhammad.
Chronologically, we're going here?
Yeah.
I have the last word.
Yeah, I think you prefaced it very well when you said that these issues are related religiously. They're not religious issues, because I think all of our texts would counter all of these horrible phenomena we're finding, as you said, throughout the world. I think people are not living their religious texts. And I think that's those of us who are involved professionally in religion, that's our fault. We haven't really we haven't challenged people to live our religious texts.
So don't you believe that some of this was started with the religious leaders?
Well, I think I can only speak for Christianity here, but certainly there have been Christian leaders who have not been in the forefront of what I believe Christ is teaching us.
Okay. Salam?
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's been a problem since the beginning, from the story of Cain and Abel, where there has been that use of violence in the name of religion. So it's not something new. It's a human condition. And the human condition is how we look at religion, and how, more specifically, we look at God. If God is the all-encompassing, the all-merciful, then you have a certain way of looking at religion and a way of practicing religion. But if God is only the God of my tribe, he's the captain of my team against your God, and we start dividing God up, then there's obviously a problem, and it's no wonder then that we use God and we use religion for purposes that God doesn't want us to use. In other words, for seeking power, for imposing ourselves on others, for eliminating people just because they're different from us, and not working for justice, but working for our own biases and desires. And I think that is one of the areas where we have gone wrong as it relates to religion. So religion becomes a divisive issue, not a uniting issue. Religion becomes a warmongering vehicle, not a peacemaking vehicle. Religion becomes a means for a tribe to one-up itself over others, not a religion that it brings from many, we become one, e pluribus unum, that every prophet, actually, every messenger has told us that we are part of one human family. So it is the essence of religion that we have to delve into, and it is the violations of those ethics, really, that creates the dogma. And that's another point, is that we either look at religion as a means of promoting ethics or a means of pushing a dogma. And in so many situations, people are actually using religion for dogmatic purposes.
You want to add anything, Paul?
No, I think Salam said that eloquently. I think that often religion is used to cloak desired behaviors on the part of some individuals. I think that many conflicts in the world don't start out religiously, but they are then somehow masked in religion when they're not initially.
You know, this issue right now in the majority of the communities, or, most of the nations in the world, is making people to leave the religion.
Yeah.
And they're becoming more anti-religion.
Yeah.
And they create, they make excuses to condemn the religion and those things. Where are the leaders of the religion, at least the true leaders of the religion?
Well, when you find them, you let us know.
We're still looking for them. I hate to say this. I know this is a Persian radio station.
That's okay. We can go.
But the worst offenders are from Iran, and you find people that are the most passionate against Islam coming from Iran as well, because of the treatment that they have suffered at the hands of mullahs who claim to be acting on behalf of Islam and on behalf of God. And that is the crux of it. The same thing is happening in Saudi Arabia. It may be a different structure, but the government and the religious establishment are using religion to oppress people. So why are we in shock then that people are leaving the faith, when the two most vocal and the two regional powers of the Muslim world are using religion in that way? And unfortunately, the situation in Turkey is not that much better. Mm-hmm. So every time people use God for the purpose of religious nationalism to impose an ideology on others, and anyone who disagrees with them has to be eliminated or punished, we wonder why people are leaving religion. That's why. Then the young people look at us in a funny way, like, what a bunch of hypocrites. You say God is merciful, you say God is just, you say La ilaha illallah means freedom and liberation, and you do just the opposite. You shackle us, you tell us how to think, you send your religious police to suppress the way people want to live, and then you wonder why we as young people don't want to have anything to do with that. That's the reality, and unfortunately, I don't think that our mosques are having those honest conversations about those issues. Unfortunately, when we talk about those issues, it results into people throwing food at each other, or worse, shouting at each other. But we have to figure out a way to have a civilized discussion and an honest conversation about these problems in a dispassionate way, but in a way that drills down on some of these matters to at least examine or to explore why young people are leaving the faith. And it's true in Judaism
exactly.
in every faith now.
This phenomenon is not limited to Islam by any means. I mean, there are numbers of even our Catholic people, let alone Christianity as a whole, where young people will not see the teachings of Christ being enfleshed in the everyday life of people. And so we have this great phenomenon. I'm spiritual, but not religious. I'm hungering for the spiritual aspect of life, but I don't want that spiritual aspect to be harnessed in a formal religion, because I don't believe I don't follow the way many of the tenets of Christianity are in fact being lived by Christians.
So considering that what Salam said, that we had example of some countries or governments that they are causing that problem, the Islamic religion, why, since we don't have any religious government in the Christianity, why this is happening in the Christianity?
Well, we do have a religious government in the sense in the Catholic Church, because we have the Vatican which is an independent city-state, if you will. Certainly, the leadership, I think, of Pope Francis is extraordinary in this whole realm. He's trying to move us, the Catholic people, away from this rigidity of dogmas and such, into a more lived experience of Christ. And I think that other Christian leaders, the Archbishop of Canterbury, others, the president of the World Lutheran Federation and such, are recognizing this, and they're trying to do the same with their people.
Rabbi, you came late to the discussion, but I can ask you the first question first and the second question, and you can catch up with the other guys here. The first question was that almost every religion believes that they are the religions of the peace, and they teach our peace and harmony throughout the world. At the same time, we have a lot of violence in every religion, the Buddhist, Hindus, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, name it. What did go wrong, and who's responsible for what's going on for the violence and atrocity in the name of the religion? Now, of course, you can deny it if you want.
No. First of all, it's good to be with my colleagues, and pardon my being a little delayed. I think that, first of all, certainly religion is implicated in violence, but often in modern times now, we are the tools of people that are manipulating religion. And I think that part of the rejection that comes from young people is that they see this manipulation more clearly than perhaps it was available to be seen by previous generations. I think that because we have a social analysis that says that wealth does not lead someone to seek a life of good deeds and sharing, but provides an opportunity for a rather personal aggrandizement, that people now understand that that wealthy people are often the ones that organize the political arrangements. That's a hard thing for people to accept. It takes a long time for people to learn it. And I think that for religious young people, being a youngster is a time where people have spiritual yearnings. And I think that people who set out to manipulate young people understand those spiritual yearnings and are able to cloak the more nefarious interests, manipulation and power, behind those religious feelings that people have. I'm not yet ready to count religion out. I think that there are profound examples of young people who are involved in service and good deeds, that the vast majority of people find themselves leaving religion, I think, is the result of the fact that we don't reach that many people anymore. The habits of attendance and connection are just not there anymore.
Thank you. What is the economy role on the whole thing? We'll start with the last one first.
The economy?
The world economy and the community economy. On the religious and the belief of the people.
I think the easier answer is, of course, that there's so much inequity, that the gap between the haves and the have-nots is getting wider and wider, that we are losing the middle class. and therefore the role of religion is to keep that middle ground, not to tell the haves that they can't have anything, and definitely to advocate on behalf of the have-nots. That's the purpose of our religion, and it's not just throwing them a bone, if you will, a couple dollars, and that's it. When you walk by them, you're not talking just about the beggars. You're talking about people now who are living in their cars. People now, kids cannot have their own homes, so they have to stay with their parents longer and longer into their 30s. They can't get married. They can't have their own independent lifestyles. So these are serious issues. And I was just talking with the father earlier today that, now that we're...
This father, not the father.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Not the father. That guy. Not the man. We're in the holiday season and we get all this food during Thanksgiving, and every other night is a party. I feel like there's something not right about that. When I'm driving down the freeway and I'm seeing more and more people living on the sidewalk in tents next to these skyscrapers, and there's something fundamentally wrong with the way we're doing things. So we should have some serious discussion, and I'm sure that among the Catholic, Jewish, Muslims in Los Angeles, we all have connections with very, very wealthy people who own those businesses and those skyscrapers, and they're making millions of dollars. And it's time to say, you need to pay your share to take care of the needs. If we don't take care of it, it will creep up to this problem will creep up to our, it is already, like for my office, I have homeless sleeping on my porch every morning. And so it's growing, and every community will be affected by it. So we have to start with those who have been pushed off the cliff of our economic system, and stop scapegoating them that it was their choice, or they have drug problems, or they have mental health issues, or they're criminal. I mean, yes, those are problems, but we have to address it. And I'm ashamed to say that the mayor had a plan, and he came to the religious community, and the religious community they balked. They did nothing. We didn't even say we like this and we need a change in that. We just walked away from it. So we should go back to the mayor and tell him what he did wrong, and get into a discourse on settling that issue. Because I feel like if we go through another Ramadan and another Christmas and another Yom Kippur or Hanukkah or high holidays, and we celebrate at the end and we don't address this issue, then why are we practicing our religion? Why are we fasting? Why are we doing what we claim that we're doing if we're not trying to create that kind of impact?
Father Alexei, that was a good comment and advice and the answer, but we are talking about the economy and the religion and the people. For sure, the homeless issue is a big issue. That the people who
the major issue in Los Angeles right now.
The people who sleep in the street, they don't care about their religion. But in overall, around the world, the economy and looking, the poor countries are getting poorer and the rich countries are getting
That's the
richer.
same, internationally as well as locally.
Absolutely,
right.
So
absolutely right.
What is the effect of economy on the people's belief and religion?
Well, we have to go
I have
back.
to wait here.
Commercial announcement.
Okay, we come back.
Peace.